Hello everyone, good day. I am making this video to serve as a review and a supplementary discussion for those sections, particularly I believe it's UMC, where we only had one day to meet, no? So that was last Friday, and last Monday, that was yesterday, we had our journalism training for the entire day. So due to time constraints and a settled schedule. So I've already completed discussions with most sections. However, for others, lesson two may not have been tackled yet. So I will make this discussion really quick, but also comprehensive. I will try to do that to make sure that we all can understand and review both lessons effectively. For the next part, we have lesson two. We will dive into the writing process. We are done with reading, now let's move on to writing. So here we are trying to understand why is it such a crucial skill to develop. Always remember that writing is not just about putting words on paper. It's not just about scribbling, drawing, doodling, using pen for no reason. So as Lunel said, writing is a combination of mental and eventual ideas. So it involves thinking deeply about your message and translating it into something that others can understand. Writing isn't just a task, it is a process and it takes time to refine. The same as well with reading. No? Reading is not just about viewing, but when we are reading, we are actually making meaning out of it. No? It goes through a process. So reading does not have to be spontaneous. Comprehension does not have to be spontaneous. You could take your time in understanding it. That is the same as well with writing. So let me emphasize one thing before we start. So writing does not have to be spontaneous. Again, you don't need to pressure yourself to get everything perfect for the first try. So writing is a skill that grows with practice, patience, and proper methods. So here's a question. Why is writing an art? Writing is an art, no, because it is a form of self-expression. That is according to now. Okay. So think of it as a painting. Now, when we are writing, that could be the same as well when we are painting. It's just that we use different tools. Instead of pen, we use colors, brushes. You use words, no? Instead of these, we use words. So just like those artists, writers aim to create something that resonates, no, with others. Whether that could be a story, an essay, a simple note. Writing involves creativity. You are thinking when we are writing. We are thinking about the past, our past experience, a storyline in our minds, a movie. It involves creativity, structure, and of course, a purpose. So, for example, when you write about your dreams, your personal experiences, you're somehow creating a picture of your life for others to see. That is why writing is considered an art. It reflects your emotions, how you think, your life, your individuality, imagination, and everything. Okay? Okay, I'm low but anyway, let's continue. So here, the writing process. Let's try to break it down step by step, starting off with, always remember, here is the summary. So the writing process involves pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing, and lastly, that is publishing. So always remember, please don't rush every paper. Okay? Pre-writing first is that is when you plan your ideas. When we are pre-writing, you are somehow, think of it as brainstorming. When you are brainstorming, you're organizing your thoughts before you start with writing. That is the same as well with previewing, no? Well, I mean, that is the same as well when we are reading. We also have previewing. For writing, we have pre-writing. So when we are pre-writing, we are planning. We use scratch papers, we make lists, we map out our plan that we put into our essays. So example of pre-writing activities is we have the listing. When we are listing, we are just basically writing down all the ideas that comes to our mind. When we are listing, basically we list down all of the ideas that we could think of without having to think about the structure and the organization of sentences or the lines. Next to listing is the clustering or mapping. When we are mapping, think of it as like we are drawing a graphic organizer. Map, we create maps. So we draw a circle, you write your main idea in the middle and the supporting ideas. You branch out the supporting ideas, okay? So let's say, for example, I want to talk about the legalization of divorce in the Philippines. But what would be the subtopics that I want to talk about legalization of divorce in the Philippines? I could talk about the history of the Philippines, the culture of the Philippines, the governmental laws of the Philippines, and a lot more. okay? So that everything would not go all over the place. Everything, you will put everything into its right place, okay? So next to clustering and mapping is we have free writing. When we have free writing, it's more of like listing, but this time, literally, we are free writing. So here, what's something unique about this is we set a timer. So for example, for 5 minutes or for 15 minutes, just write everything that you could think of non-stop about your topic. It does not need to make sense at first. It does not have to make sense at first, but just let your ideas flow, no? Flow of consciousness. So next to free writing is we have the drafting. When we are drafting, this is when we put the ideas together. After pre-writing, drafting. Here, those sentences, the strand of sentences, we form them into paragraphs this time. Okay? Don't worry about the grammar yet or the spelling. Just focus on getting your thoughts down. Okay? So remember, here you are now creating paragraphs out from the words and the sentences that you have jotted down when you were pre-writing. So during the pre-writing process, you are just free writing. Okay, writing everything that you could think of. But when we are drafting, this is when we collect them into paragraphs. Okay, but again, this is not yet final. Since this is a draft, we have to polish it more. We have to revise it first. So let's now move on to revising. When we are revising, it's more of like another phase of editing. But for revising, the focus here is the content. We are improving the content. We focus on the content. Now we have paragraphs, but we organize this according to its order, its logical order. And of course, for this part, we look for words, sentences, concepts that are necessary, redundant, and we remove it. But also we could add things that we have missed, okay? Supporting details, examples. So here, for revising, we are trying to make the draft better, okay? So ask yourself, is the message clear? Are my ideas in the right order? Did I provide enough examples? So that's for revising. You remove, you add, okay? And then you arrange the paragraphs in order. Next is the last part for the editing process is the editing, okay? Literally, we are editing by focusing on errors, okay? Our focus now here is the grammar, punctuation, and spelling. Again, for listing, free writing. Sulat lahat. Make a list of all the things that you want to talk about. Revising, collect those sentences into one paragraph or set of paragraphs. The revising, that is when you arrange the paragraphs into order, remove the unnecessary sentences, or add more examples if it's necessary. And then lastly, the editing. This is where we proofread everything, focusing mainly on the grammar, punctuation, and spelling. So it's like cleaning up your writing to make it polished. So you could think of, you could try to look for capitalization. Did you start each sentence with a capital letter? Did you spell the tricky words correctly? Did you add periods or commas where needed? And lastly, the last phase or the last process in writing, that is the, of course, publishing. When you share your work now to the public, this is the final step. This means that you're submitting your paper, presenting it to the class, or that could also be publishing it publicly or online, digitally. So, of course, it's uploaded for the public view. For the public use, that means it has to be free from errors. So make sure, especially if it's a research paper, a scholarly and academic paper where millions of people would read that. Literally a million, thousands maybe. So who knows? You could publish your own work. So Google Scholar. So again, always remember this. Please don't rush every paper. P for pre-writing, D for drafting, R for revising, E for editing, and lastly, P for publishing. So that's it for this review, this short discussion, and I hope you learned something and you're ready for the exam. Good luck and see you on January. Merry Christmas and have a great year, bountiful year ahead. So thank you so much, everyone. I will miss you so much. Goodbye.